ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to today's show. We got a lot of stuff to get to today, and we thank you so much for joining us here today in our last 10 minutes on air, or actually our last 12. Look at the time. Yeah, all right, so, yeah, we got a very busy show, but first, Saudi Crown Prince boasted that Jared Kushner was in his pocket. That's not a good thing at all to be boasting about. Lucky Break's video and pink gloves led to the catching of the Austin bombing suspect, and we're going to have that all played out next as well. So, until he was stripped of his top secret clearance in February, presidential advisor Jared Kushner was around the White House as one of the most voracious readers of the president's daily brief. No one around the White House. As one of the PDB, one of the best readers of the PDB, probably better than the president, the highly classified rundown of the latest intelligence intended only for the president and his closest advisors. Kushner, who had been tasked with bringing about a deal between Israel and Palestine, was particularly engaged by information about the Middle East, according to a former White House official and former U.S. intelligence professional. So, in June, Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman ousted his cousin, then Crown Prince Mohammed bin Nayef, and took his place as next in line to the throne, upending an established line of succession. In the months that followed, the president's daily brief contained information on Saudi Arabia evolving political situation, including a handful of names of royal family members opposed to the Crown Prince's power grab, according to the former White House official and two U.S. government officials with the knowledge of the report. Like many others interviewed for the story, they declined to be identified because they were not authorized to speak about these kind of sensitive matters to the press. In late October, Jared Kushner made an unannounced trip to Riyadh, catching some intelligence officials off guard. The two princes are said to have stayed up till nearly 4 a.m. several nights, swapping stories and planning a strategy. Washington Post David Ignatius reported at the time. What exactly Kushner and the Saudi royal talked about in Riyadh may be known only to them, but after the meeting, Crown Prince Mohammed told confidence that Kushner had discussed the names of Saudis disloyal to the Crown Prince, according to three sources. So he's giving up things that people in the Saudi government, they don't know. He's just pretty much giving the Saudi government free classified information. Like, this is what, this is like Hillary email server times 1,000 right here. Like, this alone, like, if this is true, like, imagine if Hillary Clinton, or, like, imagine if, like, Malia or, like, Chelsea Clinton did this, popped on, or like, any Obama advisor or Hillary advisor, like, Robbie Mook, just popped over to, Saudi Arabia and went, hey, here are our secrets, our state classified secrets that are only known to us and the people who they directly involve, that will tell you who's opposed to you and your regime, the fact that you're upending the entire Saudi Arabian line of succession, and all this classified information about who hates you. Here's all that information. That's just what we want to give you right now at this exact moment. So you're lucky. You're very lucky. This is quite incredible. It's very interesting. What exactly Kushner and the Saudi royal talked about in Riyadh, we obviously don't know. But yeah, three sources say Kushner had discussed the names again of Saudis disloyal to the crown. So that's a little fun. And it is a big deal. According to three sources who have been in contact with members of the Saudi and Emirati royal family since the crackdown, Kushner, through his attorney spokesman, denies obviously having done so. Of course, he's going to deny it. Some questions by the media are so obviously false and ridiculous that they merit no response. This is one the Intercept should know better. You can use this stupid little Intercept. You should know better. Intercept is reporting this here, by the way. On November 4th, a week after Kushner returned to the U.S., the Crown Prince, known as in official Washington by his initials MBS, launched what he called an anti-corruption crackdown. The Saudi government arrested dozens of members of the Saudi royal family and imprisoned them in the Ritz-Carlton Riyadh. I wonder how many of those were on the presidential daily brief that Jared Kushner read and then supposedly told MBS about. So they arrested them. Saudi government arrested the members of the Saudi royal family and imprisoned them in the Ritz-Carlton Riyadh, which was first reported in English by The Intercept. The Saudi figures named in the presidential daily brief were among those rounded up, and at least one was reportedly tortured. So it was. All the Saudi figures named in the presidential daily brief were among those rounded up. So he only waited a week after Jared Kushner told him all the people who hated him to round them up and start, in one case, torturing them. So it's really quite incredible. The U.S. hand of democracy all over the world. But Saudi Arabia did not respond to questions from The Intercept. The White House referred questions to National Security Council spokesperson Michael Anton. Anton declined to comment, referring questions on Kushner's discussions with MBS to Lowell. So, they are dodging on this to be sure. So that's going to be a very interesting story that is worth following. It's very much worth developing there. So that is going to be very, very important. So, all right. We now move on to the Austin bomber, and it's time to find out how they caught this Austin bombing suspect, Mark Condit, and it was really not much. New York Times reports surveillance footage in and near an Austin area FedEx store showing a man disguised as in a disguise dropping off packages, but the hunt for investigators for federal, state, and local agencies who have been hunting a mysterious and prolific bomb maker, it's what they needed. It was their first big break. Up to that point in the 2-week investigation, officials have never laid eyes on the man they believed was responsible for terrorizing the Texas Capitol since March 2nd. In the security footage, a red 2002 Ford Ranger could be seen, officials said, but because the authorities did not have a license plate number, they began combing through the records, all of them, for every vehicle with the same make and model in Texas. Investigators then began trying to match the records with a white male, possibly in his 20s, and there was another, more unorthodox clue from the surveillance video: the suspect's hands. He was wearing the same kind of pink construction gloves. Investigators determined the type of gloves were available at Home Depot, and they had been going through hours of surveillance video from Home Depot locations in and around Austin. They got a hit. Security video from one store appeared to show the same suspect. Officials had now whittled down the number of potential license plates and began tailing a handful of people. One of them turned out to be Mark Condit, the man who the authorities now believed was Austin's serial bomber. In a matter of hours, Condit's bombing spree, as well as his life, would soon be over. As SWAT officials closed in, Mark Condit, a 23-year-old man from the Austin suburbs and no criminal record, ignited one of his homemade devices from inside his vehicle early Wednesday and killed himself before he could be apprehended. The dramatic and deadly trail of homemade explosions left 2 people dead and injured several others, ended in a ditch offside Interstate 35 in Round Rock, with one of the windows of his vehicle blown out and his motive as unknown as ever. In the hours after Condit's death yesterday morning, his almost 25 hours ago, his bombs and his techniques emerged, along with the story of how he was finally stopped. The lucky breaks, investigative ingenuity, and technology that helped catch one of the most elusive serial bombers in recent decades. His bombing, luckily, wasn't that effective, but his evading from law, unfortunately, was quite effective. But by the end of the day, Wednesday, the police had another tool, a 25-minute confession left on the suspect's phone in which he attempted to describe his odyssey. It was the outcry of a very challenged young man talking about his challenges in his personal life that had led him to this point. Interviews with political leaders briefed on the inquiry, along with briefings from investigators. A federal law enforcement source shed light on an investigation that saw hundreds of federal agents descend on Austin, gathering and reconstructing bomb fragments, interviewing witnesses, and gathering video footage. We have not seen an effort like this in many, many years. Christopher Combs, a special agent in charge of the FBI's office in San Antonio. So it was quite serious going on right there. Officials said Mark Condit planted one bomb in the upscale Travis County neighborhood of Austin, and tied the bomb to a tripwire at to a "Caution Children at Play" sign, which he put next to the sidewalk and bought along with four others at Home Depot. Investigators used his cell phone data to put him at the scene of explosions in Austin, and also got his Google search history. But officials said the first crucial break was when Condit mailed the packages at the FedEx store earlier this week. Representative Michael McCall, Republican of Texas, said that when Condit left the FedEx office, he had gotten a pickup that had been called in by others as a potential lead, and then they got the license plate, and from there they were able to get the cell phone number. He said, adding that from there, agents could track the cell phone directly as a location device. Condit's suicide left more questions than answers about who he was, how he became a bomb maker, and why he did it. Chief Manley seemed to assuage these worries about more bombs when he had said all 7 had been accounted for. Law enforcement officials had been aware that Condit had placed or sent additional bombs in the hours before he died, and officials have said they're still looking into whether Condit had any accomplices. In the Austin suburb of Pflugerville, where Condit grew up and lived, a steady fear persisted throughout the day, even after his death. Neighbors were forced to evacuate from the area surrounding the house Condit had shared with 2 roommates. After investigators found explosive materials there, they were allowed to return later in the day. So obviously a very scary situation. Apologize, I was reading quite a lot there, but still it's just a very important thing that I really want to just kind of get down and into. All right, so that looks like it's just about it. We are out of time for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you tomorrow.